So coming on to three applications which I'd like to talk about. The team of people didn't mention any of these beforehand, really, but on the top right, it's the Starbucks application. Huge success in the UK, where you load money onto a prepaid card, and then when you go on store in store, you can just show the phone. It's got a barcode on it, and it'll then discount money. It's a really good start, but Starbucks certainly they were quite happy to invest in new hardware to read the scanners on the mobile phone. Some of our other retailers aren't so interested in that bespoke bit of software, but it was a really good step in doing something exciting, doing something new with the mobile phone, and I think it's a good implementation of the technology. The middle one was Groupon. Now, I hope we don't have people in the audience from Groupon, because I use it as an example of incorrect targeting. I got to a point where I was getting so many emails from them, I turned it off, and with the mobile phone, I'm actually doing the same. But it does offer discounts, quite hefty discounts for certain things, and you can buy them and redeem them using your phone. The third one is the O2 Priority Moments application. This one is a discount program, and O2 are fronting a number of the retail community for particular offers. The one I'm showing on screen, that long barcode, that long number, can be redeemed against goods. It was issued to an individual, and so when it's redeemed, it can be tracked. So through the system, they know exactly where it went and whether it was redeemed against the right goods as well. But when you're having to put that long number into a point of sale, a retail store, it wouldn't work for the likes of Tesco's. It works for PC World in this case, or Comet, because it's a single item, perhaps high value. So the Logic Group runs a poll. Every year we ask a lot of questions to certain people, and last year through one of our partners, Ipsos Mori, we started to introduce questions about mobile. And the results here I think are reasonably clear in a lot of people are still worried about security. We are learning to trust our mobile phone more and more, but people are still worried about security, especially if I have everything about me stored in that, including all my payment details. And if it wasn't for security, I think it'd be very easy to implement this type of technology. You know, I think half the concerns and half the developments that we have as a business are all about that security side of it. Ease of use. I think it's quite obvious that if I've got my phone and it's no better than my wallet, I might as well just keep my wallet. You know, it has to be easiest to use. It has to be the right thing for people to use it and for it to gain mass adoption. If it's difficult, it just won't take off. And then places to use it and choice of phone is obviously key. When I talk about sort of this technology, people say, oh, but no one has a phone. I think about 2.5% have the phone or have a particular brand of the phone, but that's getting more year on year. And I think there were 12 new phones that were announced into the UK market, and I know there's a lot of press at the moment about the likes of the Olympic phone, because Visa are trying to promote NFC technology. So there's a lot of big brands that see this and are really trying to push the technology. And then the relevancy of offers and spam is really key. I don't want to walk down a high street and every time I pass a store my phone buzz with a particular offer. That's the first thing I'll turn off. But if we know that a particular person at a particular time of the day typically does something, we can target them with a very relevant offer which will increase the redemption rates of the particular offers, which is very interesting to the retail community. And then an open ecosystem. At the moment, it's very fragmented, and Jon, one of my colleagues, will be talking a little bit more about that later, but it's very, very fragmented. And it's very difficult to second guess how some of these problems are going to overcome. So I think it's important to understand them and to be able to react when the conditions are right. So I just want to touch on NFC. Near-field communications, it's more than contactless. So anybody that's used their payment card and just tapped it on a PIN pad rather than inserted it, NFC is more than that. It can do a lot more. It can be where I tap my phone on a reader and the reader can go, okay, I'm this particular store, so I'd like to see this club card and this particular payment card. And I know, from exchange with a phone that you've got these offers stored. Do you want to redeem them? So you can have that two-way conversation. And with the read and write is really interesting because it's part of the technology where I could be standing at a train station and there could be a poster board and I could just tap. It might deliver me information, offers, or the first chapter of the particular book. But that can be based on who I am, what I usually do. So whatever comes back to that phone can be very, very targeted. And I think that's where the mobile is going to really help with that. So there are lots of initiatives in the payments and the couponing and loyalty space. Some don't talk about NFC. In fact, they're steering clear of it. But I believe it is all about NFC, even if it's not happening today. I'm thinking 12 months. I'm thinking perhaps further, depending on whether it's coupons, payments, and offers around that. But when you really combine it, I think it's going to be a very strong proposition for the retail community and for me as a consumer, for what the kind of behaviour that I would typically display in store. And I think the question is, a marathon or a sprint? Well, even with the marathon, as I'm sure many people know from last weekend, you need to do training a long way in advance before you can succeed. And I think that the people we're talking to need to start looking at this, knowing what they're trying to achieve. And when it comes to marketing, I think the mobile opens up that particular space far more than any other medium we've seen. And I think it's really, really exciting. So what do I mean by mobile interactions? I don't just mean payment. I don't just mean a retail store. I mean from the moment when I go through a ticket barrier, I'm tapping my phone to get onto the underground, to get through any trains. I'm talking about smart posters where I see something of interest to me and I tap. I'm showing an interest already, so I'm engaged in that sense and I can get a reward for that. Shelf tags as well. This could be where I like a particular TV, pair of shoes. I want to know if it's in my size. There isn't a shop assistant. I could tap to say, okay, tell me more about this product. And it can deliver that information to me. Based on that as well, the retailer would know where that person is and what they're looking at. So they could target them with information to say, if you buy in the next 15 minutes, you get an extra 5% off, 2%, to try and change people from then going online for the cheapest price to buying it there and then in store. And then ordering. You could tap to say, I'd like panini, coffee, cake, and then tap to place your order as well through this technology. And then payment, all my cards, all my information is stored on my phone. I just need to tap to redeem. And then as well, for further information. So the store can re-engage just as a thank you, or we know you've bought this particular shirt. Here's a matching tie for next time you come in. So I think the more we know about the shopper, the more interesting it is in the targeting sense. And I think NFC and tracking consumer behaviour on that is a pretty good way to manage it.